welcome to this. And yes, finally, I have been bugged about this. I don't mean that in a bad way, but a lot of people have asked why I haven't done this review of Final Battle. It's gonna be Glory by Honor 8. Final countdown. Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson's final show. And the reason why I haven't done a review of it is basically I figured there was enough reviews of it up. One of the things when I first started here on YouTube was pretty much as far as, you know, shows and that sort of thing, that as far as Ring of Honor, that I remember, maybe there were more people on here at the time that reviewed, you know, consistently reviewed Ring of Honor shows. But myself, Oliver Scott were probably the two biggest. And since then, now, I mean, you've got Sanders Robin, who is excellent at reviews. You've got The Miz and, you know, Big Rat, Honor Hammer, and a lot of other guys that, you know, now do a whole lot of reviews of Ring of Honor and PWG and all sorts of indie stuff. So I don't feel like I need to do as many reviews, particularly like this show, when by the time I got around to reviewing it, everybody in the Brotherhood reviewed it. Everyone had pretty much said the same things that I would have said, so I didn't feel the need to necessarily do it. I know some of you say, oh, but, you know, I like your opinion on it and this, that, and I appreciate that, but that's why I haven't done it. But enough people have asked that I figured I would come on here and do this review of this show, which is a great show, and I think is probably one of the best shows Ring of Honor has ever done. I will freely say that, and I think one of the things that I like best about the show that I don't think a lot of people have talked about is the fact that there is no Japanese talent on this card, which to me is a big deal, because I think if you look at the best shows Ring of Honor has ever done, they do, you know, those shows usually relied somewhat on a big, you know, bringing in some international star to kind of help with everything, and that's not what we got here. So that was a good thing to me, and I thought that even when the show was booked and we knew what the card was going to be, that stuck out to me very much, because I mean that's a big deal, because first of all, it costs money to bring those people in, so if you can put on this good of a show without those people, that's a good thing. And also the fact that I think that was one of Gabe's biggest flaws, is that he relied too much sometimes on that talent instead of, you know, only bringing them in for special occasions. I think sometimes he brought them in simply so that, okay, I need to bring in these guys because I need, you know, I need a great match on this card. And I think too often he did that instead of simply bringing it in just because, hey, I'm going to have this guy on the card. Too often it was like, oh, I'm going to bring in this guy on the card to have a great match. Not that that's a bad thing, but I think it's more important to say I'm bringing in this guy for a special occasion than, you know, having a guy show up, you know, 3-4 times a year so that you definitely know just to fill a spot on a card because you feel like you need a great match. I think that you need, more importantly, I think you need to somehow create a great match. So there is that. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I think that ended up being a flaw. I think Ring of Honor became too dependent on that. So, but that's just my opinion. I'm sure there will be people who will disagree because there are people that disagree about lots of things. But of course, this was the last show for Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness. First, we thought it was going to be Bryan Danielson's last show for Ring of Honor. Then we found out it was going to be Nigel McGuinness's last show for Ring of Honor. And of course, originally, the show was built around Ladder War 2, which, you know, Ladder War is probably, you know, one of the most beloved matches in Ring of Honor history, and probably would be one of the best ladder matches in history if it wasn't for, you know, that last little snafu at the end of the match, which does hurt the match. But, so that is what we got. And for those of you that probably maybe remember back when this event actually happened, there was a video that popped up on my page with Crazy Mike and C-Dude, Chase, and a bunch of other guys from YouTube. And a lot of people wondered exactly what that was all about. I'm not gonna lie, I do give my friends access to my account when I feel it's needed. for various reasons. One of the reasons is so that they can upload videos. I didn't know they were going to upload that video, but it was all in fun. A lot of people got kind of upset about it. I'm not sure why, but it was all in fun. Basically, the deal was when they announced that Ladder War was going to happen, Chase, seated, who lives in Louisiana, had made plans to go because he wanted to see Ladder War 2. So then he wound up seeing Nigel McGuinness's, Bryan Danielson's last match as well, and among other things that happened on this card. And so he was there. He tried to keep it a secret. Jared Morrovirus kind of spilled the beans for me, so it wasn't that big of a secret. But that's kind of the story behind that, leading up to this card. And like I said, I think this is one of the best cards Ring of Honor has probably put on when you consider the match quality, the storyline development, all of that sort of thing. This was just that kind of card. This I think is, when you look at all of that, is one of the most important cards Ring of Honor has ever put on. And on top of that, it shows because the first DVD printing that they did completely sold out on the pre-orders. So that's a pretty good deal. So there is all of that. But let's get on with the review of the show. As most of you probably know, if you've seen the newer Ring of Honor DVDs, you now have the option of commentary. The commentary team for Ring of Honor now that I've seen, with Chris Hero, I don't think it's very good. And then when they add in, whoa, man, neither team is very good. Chris Hero, I could probably stand more. I've never liked Chris Hero on commentary, not even on PWG. But to be honest, nobody on the indies really has a great commentary selection, with the exception of Chikara, and that's because of the way they do commentary. And they have like 4 guys that are all great on commentary, so that helps. And they switch out, so it keeps things fresh and kind of funny. But so that's not a big deal to me. And of course, now you can turn off the commentary, which I think is a good deal. Particularly since I think it sounds better than PWG's when you turn off their commentary. Myself, that's just me. Some people, will say I'm just hating on PWG like I usually am, but hey, whatever. But that would be, as far as a technical issue, my only real problem with this. But we'll get on with the show. We got, let's see, Colt Cabana versus Rhett Titus was the opener. Nice little comedy match. Nothing too horrible. I like comedy matches, so I was into this. I can't believe the WWE just missed out on Colt Cabana. Completely over my head. I don't get it, but hey, whatever. Like I said, good little comedy match. Colt did his thing, Rhett did his thing, so good little opener. Then we had the Dark City Fight Club versus Cheech and Claudio. This was probably, of the big shows, I would say, this is the first time I think we saw where the HD net tapings kind of led to a match on one of the big shows, which, again, we saw on Final Battle as well. We saw a lot of those matches kind of built up on HD net. And I would be shocked. I think that we'll probably see, probably not so much the WrestleMania shows, but more the Big Bang. We'll probably see a lot of HD net, it looks like. The show kind of build up towards that, which is really good, and I think is something that probably they should have done for a while, because I do feel that eventually they're going to have to kind of move farther away from the DVD stuff and hopefully rely on the as hopefully more, they just got their distribution deal in Italy, I believe, and hopefully if they get some more distribution deals with some networks around, in foreign countries, they won't have to rely on the DVD sales, and so, basically you'll just have the big shows, which would be pretty good in my opinion, because I think that's the one thing really wrong with Ring of Honor is it's kind of hard to keep up with the DVD and then HDNet and the whole thing, but hey, there is that. But this was, I would say, the first show where we really kind of saw that, where it led up, which was really good, and I think shows, a lot. I think was one of the reasons why there was so much interest in the show, not just because of Nigel McGuinness and Bryan Danielson, because people forget there was a lot of interest to the show even before that was announced. This was looked at as a really big show. People were already excited about the show, and then everything just kind of fell into place, and it just became that much bigger. So there was that. But this, Dark City Fight Club versus Cheech and Claudio was pretty good. Set off Dark City Fight Club, which I like, because Dark City Fight Club does a style which we don't see in Ring of Honor, kind of the power style. It's one of the things that with Brown, Skull Crusher Brown, that I wonder if we're ever going to see his tag partner Walker, because I think they're another team where we don't see that style in Ring of Honor. I think they'd be a good fit, just so we have another power team in Ring of Honor. But some people probably don't agree with that. But this was a good, I wouldn't say a prolonged squash, but just a okay match to kind of show up Dark City Fight Club a little bit, which was good. So there was that. Then we had Claudio Castagnoli taking on Kenny Omega. This was a good little match. I thought Kenny Omega did what he did. He's very entertaining. Claudio's very entertaining. You put the match in there, it's a very entertaining match. Kenny did, his athletic stuff. Claudio did the stuff that he does. I'm still shocked and perplexed that Claudio Castagnoli is not in WWE or TNA. I would have thought he would have been there before Nigel, but that's just me. What do I know? Then we had a four-way. Delirious, Sonjay, Dutt, Grizzly, Redwood, Roderick Strong. This was really good, actually. It started off kind of slow, but then eventually it picked up. Grizzly, Redwood in particular was really good in this match. Delirious was, Delirious, and Sonjay, Dutt, and Roderick Strong, when they were against each other, when they were in the ring and kind of paired off with each other, really did really well and hit some really good spots. And once this got going, this was really good. It kind of took a while to build up, but once it did, I thought it was really good. And the ending spot with Roderick Strong's Tiger Driver on Sonjay Dutt, I thought was pretty impressive. I thought that was a good kind of sick move. Then we got the first kind of main match of the night. The Ladder War, the American Wolves versus Kevin Steen and El Generico. Not as good as the first one, I would say. Not as crazy as the first one. I still think this was great. Kind of more like a different type of match. This was less reliant on the spots, more reliant on let's bring the hate, leading up to the spots, so the spots meant more, which I liked. There's two just amazing spots where Davey Richards gets pile drived off one of the ladders through a table by El Generico. He does the sunset flip over the ladder. It's a spot we've seen tried a lot of times. Usually it doesn't come off very well. This was probably the best I've ever seen this spot done. It was awesome. Just amazing. And then Kevin Steen falling off of a ladder to the outside through a table and another ladder was also an awesome spot. And there was lots of other just, hip tosses and that sort of thing, and just a lot of, like I said, there wasn't a lot of spots, and there wasn't a lot of crazy spots, but the spots that were there seemed to mean more, and that was really good. Of course, Eddie Edwards had hurt his arm. That played somewhat into the match, and which was good. And then they played up when Kevin Steen got handcuffed. That now it was kind of a more even match, because Kevin Steen now didn't have use of either of his arms, and Eddie Edwards didn't have use of one of his arms, which was pretty good. I think this match probably got Eddie Edwards way over because he toughed it out with the hurt arm. So. But still, just a great match, in my opinion. Then we had Chris Hero versus Eddie Kingston. This was more of a setup, I would say, to the match for Final Battle. Still good, I thought. I've seen ratings for this all over the place. Some people thought it was great. Some people thought it was kind of just subpar. Thought it was good. Didn't think it was anything truly blown away. You definitely could tell they were setting up for something else. So. But I thought it was pretty good. Then we had Austin Aries versus Petey Williams. This was a match that the night of the show a lot of people crapped on. And then because they felt like they killed the Canadian Destroyer Petey Williams finisher. And watching the match, I really didn't feel that. I think maybe to an extent, maybe, but I definitely don't think they killed it, because it was still pretty evident that, after the first one, even though Austin Aries wasn't completely out, it was more like on instinct. He grabbed one of the ropes, and then the second time when he took the Super Canadian Destroyer, he rolled to the outside. Definitely don't think it was totally, it wasn't as bad as him kicking out, which I think would have totally killed it. But I definitely think people crapped on this match for reasons beyond. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So there was that. Then we had the Briscoes versus the Young Bucks. About this, I didn't think this was as great as it could have been, mainly because the fans, just for whatever reason, it took a lot for the fans to get into this match. I don't know if they just weren't into the Young Bucks, or they just weren't into the match, or they're just the Briscoes have kind of just gotten old on the. I don't know what the deal was, but they just were not as into this as I thought they would be. Still really good. They definitely popped when the Young Bucks won, and just really good match. I mean, just was what it was. And we got the main event. This was kind of what everything was leading to. Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson. They did a really good video package for this. They did a really good video package for the Ladder War too. Probably better than any other video package I can remember Ring of Honor doing for their DVDs. Not their best match, but it was more of a best of match where they did different things from different matches. They hit most of their signature stuff. Added a few little wrinkles in there, a few new counters, but really good. As far as a moment, this was probably one of maybe the best Ring of Honor moment I can think of. Blew away just about anything I can imagine. Nigel McGuinness cut a pretty funny promo. Bryan Danielson cut more of a serious promo at the end of the match. The fans were very respectful. It was just a very, very cool moment. And as far as moments go, I think it's just definitely something to see. Which was another thing this had as well. This show had, because you had Bret Hart, who was at the show, come out, kind of put over Ring of Honor a little bit, which was kind of cool to see. And then you had, of course, the return of Jim Cornette, which was a big, big deal. And it was probably the one thing when I was being texted by Chase and Jared about the show that was the one thing that really pissed me off that I wasn't there, was when they said Jim Cornette was there. And I didn't even believe them at first. And they were apparently going crazy. The fans were going crazy when he came out. Cut the promo that most people have heard. Even before he was on the show about TNA and why he was fired and this, that, and the other. But really good stuff. Overall, I think that, like I said, I think for wrestling and storyline and moments and all of this, I think this is definitely you could argue this is probably maybe the best Ring of Honor DVD when you add in all that there has been. I definitely think it's one of the best Ring of Honor DVDs. I thought about doing what Instant Classic 8 did in his review, where he basically just said, threw down Man Up, threw down Super Card of Honor 3, and then threw down this show and said, you kind of get the point. This is an awesome show. So, definitely, if you haven't bought this, which I would be surprised if most of you haven't, definitely go out of your way to buy this DVD. Do not download this. This is definitely a great, great DVD and worth downloading, or worth actually buying, not going out of your way to try to, get it for free or anything like that. This show is truly awesome. And, like I said, some really, really great stuff. So, with that, finally, the review is up. Yeah, you guys can stop bugging me about it. I'm kidding. But there you go. There's my thoughts on it. Like I said, I definitely think this is one of the best Ring of Honor cards of all time. Just from that perspective, from all of that. And, probably similar to, what a lot of people feel like some of the shows from Summer of Punk, which I am not as big of a fan on as some people are, but that's just me. But anyways, with that, I'm out. Have a good one, and later.